What's going on, everybody? We are live for AMA Thursday. Let me know what questions you guys have for me. For the next 30 or 45 minutes, I'm here to answer any questions that you have. I'm monitoring the chat boxes right now. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I see we have Pablo Mendo. Hi there. John Unico from Belgium. GSM Khalid. So hello, everyone. Let me know what questions you guys have for me. I don't have any agenda for this AMA session. The goal of this is to answer whatever questions is holding you back in your Amazon journey, whatever you're worried about, whether it be about entrepreneurship or selling on Amazon or anything else in between. Feel free to ask me, and I'll be more than happy to help. Daily Review Force with the first one says, Greg, I've been following you for a year and haven't been able to pull the trigger on an item. I believe I'm being biased and overthinking. How do you stop that? From Lazar and YouTube. This is a great question, and this is something that happens a lot. People get what I like to call like analysis paralysis. They want to continue to look at items instead of actually like pulling the trigger on some. And my advice to you is minimize your risk by choosing a product that's not too much of an investment for you or like a smaller order, and go ahead and just go for it, okay? Because what you have to understand is, even if your first product isn't a home run, you're gonna learn so much from the process that after that, you're gonna be able to do so much better. So it's so important to get out there and launch that first product because you're gonna learn so much from it, okay? So I think just like get rid of the thinking that the first product has to be absolutely perfect. Instead, just going into it saying like, hey, you know what, on my first product, I'll probably break even, but I'm gonna learn so much that, from there on out, I'm gonna be able to have like tons of success, all right? So that's my advice for you. Bert Matthews says, do you shut off automatic PPC and just use manual? Good question. No, I don't. I usually leave on automatic. My bids are usually a little bit lower because my manual I can refine much more. But the nice thing about the automatic is it's constantly like mining for new keywords for me, and I like having that. And as long as it's operating profitably, then I have no problem just leaving it on and letting it run. Salima, sorry, I see the questions are going by pretty fast. I'm just trying to grab a few here. Let's see. Salima says, do you still think it's okay to sell random products or to build a brand? I think it's perfectly fine to sell random products. Really, like where the industry is shifting, like if we look over the past 20 years, people are caring like less and less about the brands, and they're caring more and more about like the social proof associated with them. So one of the reasons I think that private label products are so successful on Amazon is because people care much more about things like the price and the reviews of a product and not so much about a brand. If we think about what brands are, what brands stand for, back in the day before there was like review systems on these online marketplaces, brands were important because it signified a certain level of quality with the brands, okay? Like people knew that when they purchased Tide detergent that it was gonna be of a certain quality because like they were familiar with it, they've used it before, the marketing influenced them maybe to lead them to believe that. But now like it's not as important for people to purchase the Tide brand detergent if there's another detergent on Amazon that's like at a better price and gets better reviews that like it actually cleans better, okay? So I don't have like these nice cohesive brands. I just launch whatever products are in high demand with low competition are gonna make me money on Amazon. Greg, PPC first or giveaways? I usually launch PPC at the same time that I do my giveaways. That being said, if you're pretty tight on cash or pretty cost conscious, you might want to do some giveaways first to help you get some initial reviews because your PPC is going to convert better once you have made some sales and have some reviews. All right. Another one on YouTube says, can you be anonymous as a seller? Sorry, scrolled past that. Sorry, they're coming in. Oh, there it is. Can you be anonymous as a seller? I want to keep my personal and artistic life separate from my main source of income. If you mean like, the public doesn't have to see your name. That doesn't have to be like your seller account. I think this is actually different in the EU. I think they have stricter policies about like transparency about who owns companies. But at least in the US, it doesn't matter. You can like set your seller account name as anything. You don't have to, people don't have to know who the owner is behind a company. So I know tons of questions here, but let's see. Another one says, if you were starting over, would you do anything differently? Yes. My biggest regret that I've had with my Amazon business is not launching more products faster. Once you've learned how to launch products successfully on Amazon, the biggest thing holding back from like a company that does $500,000 a year in revenue and $20 million a year in revenue is like the number of SKUs they have. So once you get to that point, it's all about like building systems and building a team to help you launch products faster and then figuring out the cash flow situation. Maybe you grow totally organically just out of the cash that the business generates. Another alternative is, you can look for outside funding, whether that be investors or loans from banks or just credit cards or a number of other methods. So that's like, looking back, that's one thing I wish I did a little bit better. Any advice on how to put your website together when selling random products rather than a niche? My advice to you is really don't worry too much about your own e-commerce site. Everyone that I talk to that has their own e-commerce sites, they say like 1% of their sales come from their e-commerce sites and the other 99% of sales come from Amazon. So I'd say don't worry about it. If you need it for whatever reason, whether that be like social proof for factories or brand registry or whatever else, my advice to you would just be go ahead and just put all of them on there and just, a number of people do that and it's perfectly fine. Let's see here. How many products do you sell on Amazon? I don't know exactly how many active products I have. I have launched over 200 SKUs on Amazon. What do you think of sourcing from a third party for a better deal, maybe, and prep? What do you think of sourcing from a third party? Usually the best deal you're going to be able to get is like straight from a factory. Maybe you're asking who to get your prep done by, but I would have your prep do the majority of I would have the factory do the majority of the prep for you. I wish I could sell on Amazon USA, but I unfairly had my account suspended. I'm sorry to hear that. I will say that 99.9% of people that I know who have had their account suspended have been able to get it back. It's usually a frustrating process and can take a little bit of time, but I've only ever heard of like one case of a person who couldn't get their account reinstated. Sometimes people do have to like pay for experts who specialize in this kind of thing to help, but from my understanding, they pretty much have 100% success rate of getting these reinstated. All right. Ralph said, hey, Greg, we have found 2 products to launch and we're concerned about choosing the wrong vendor for our first order. Any thoughts? My thoughts for you are try to do as much due diligence as possible. So some things that you can do for this is you can, of course, get samples from the factories. You can just do a simple Google search for these factories online, see if they have any reviews or poor reviews. You can use a trade database like Panjiva or Import Genius, and you can see how many other containers they've imported into the US. Another thing you can do is schedule an inspection. If it's a really high-priced order, you could even do like a during production inspection and then a final inspection. So these would all be ways to really minimize the chance of, like, reduce your risk, minimize the chance of anything going wrong. Let's see here. When will Keyword Scout launch in India? So you guys who aren't familiar with Keyword Scout, it's Jungle Scout's new keyword research tool. The response from it has been absolutely amazing, and I imagine this is why Ronald is asking when it'll be released in India. Right now, we are collecting and organizing all the data for all of the rest of North America, the EU, and India. I don't know exactly when that's going to be released, but hopefully in the next few weeks here. I think last time I checked with them, they were getting pretty close to done. All right, Snuggly Panda asks, how is Jungle Snugs doing now that considering a number of other sellers are doing the exact same thing? So as you aren't familiar, during our $1 million case study, which is where we transparently launched a product on Amazon, the product that we launched during season 2 was a hooded baby towel called Jungle Snugs. The downside of publicly launching a product and telling everyone every last little detail is, of course, there's going to be tons of copycats. So when we went into the niche, we had like 2 or 3 competitors. A lot of people followed our case study a little bit too closely and launched the exact same product as we did. Probably like 50 or 100 people did that. So it still does okay. Last I checked, it's selling about 400 units per month. We have 4 different colors. The best color was selling like about 150. Some of the worser colors like 60 or 80 or something. But in total, throughout all the 4 colors, we're still selling about 400 units per month at a pretty good margin. So I can still consider that a success. Like when I launch any product on Amazon, my goal is 10 units a day, which is about 300 per month. So even though like 100 people copied our exact same product, it's still selling better than what like my kind of like minimum is. I noticed that Chinese suppliers violate US patent laws. How to avoid that without hiring a lawyer for each product? I wouldn't say this is just, Chinese suppliers or any like people from like one region. You have to be, you said patent laws and copyright laws here, which are 2 different things. A patent is like, if I create a design or utility patent, like on a coffee cup's a bad example, maybe like a screwdriver or something. Then no one else can sell a screwdriver that either looks the same or does the same thing, depending if it's a design or utility patent. But regardless of it, how you fight these things, if you are the patent or trademark owner, you can try to just download like a cease and desist template off online to send to these people. If that doesn't work, which I think it usually does in like 80 or 90% of cases, then you would probably need to get legal help. It is a little bit of a hassle. So I guess you just have to kind of decide, like, is it worth it for you to fight it? Or are they really not affecting your business enough that you can kind of just like let it go? So yeah, that's kind of how I think about it. All right. Of those 200 SKUs launched, how many were successful? So I have about a 90% plus success rate with my products, okay? And you can see this with the case study products we've launched as well. We've launched publicly 3 products. All 3 of those have been successful. So, the marshmallow sticks, which unfortunately just ran out of stock, but I think they're back in stock on Monday. They've been live for about like 2 or 3 years now, and they do fantastic. Like in the spring and fall, they sell like over 1,000 units per month. In the slow times, they sell 300 or 400 units per month. The Jungle Snugs, which I just spoke about, they're pretty consistent, about 400, maybe 500 units per month year round. Our sleeping bags, I haven't checked on lately, but I know they were selling a few hundred units per month, so they're successful. What I will say, when I say that I have about like a 90% success rate, I've never been like stuck with a product. I've never had a product that like I just couldn't sell at all. But I will admit that some products, what ends up happening is the margins end up not being good enough that it's not worth it for me to reorder. So maybe I just like break even on the order or only make like a 3% margin or 5% or 7% margin or something like that. And that's not worth it to me to reorder that. Those aren't good enough margins, okay? So that's kind of like how I think about it. All right. I've been selling for 2 months now. I've only gotten 1 review out of 30 sales. I'm trying to do it the right way. Is there a safe way to get them faster? Thank you. Bill Matthew from Facebook. So organically on Amazon, if you don't send follow-up emails, only about 2% of people leave reviews, okay? So for every 100 units you sell, you're only gonna get about 2 reviews, which isn't very many. If you send email follow-ups using a tool like JumpSend, that is increased depending on the quality of the emails and your type of product. We've seen that increase anywhere from like 4%, even up to 10%. Some really good people are actually getting like 10% review rate on their products. So that's the best way to increase it. But for you who's only sold 30 units, your biggest problem or the biggest thing you need to think about right now is selling more units. Once you're selling more units, you're gonna rank better. Once you rank better, you get more organic sales. When you get more organic sales, you're gonna get more reviews. So what I'd recommend for you is I would probably be very aggressive on bidding on PPC, even if you're losing a little bit of money up front. The other thing what I would do is I'd probably give away coupons, like do giveaways using coupons. Again, you can use a tool like JumpSend to do so, and that's just gonna increase the number of sales that you're making, and as a result, you'll get more reviews. All right. What's the latest on Jungle Slumber? Jungle Slumber's been ticking away. To be completely honest, I haven't checked on it in a month or two. I think we I think we were out of stock for one of the sizes for a little while. I think they're both in stock now, but I mean, they're selling well. We've had to place like a few reorders. The profit margins are pretty good. So yeah, the Jungle Slumber sleeping bags on the UK store are doing well. All right. Is JumpSend also available in the UK? Yes, JumpSend is available in the US and the UK. When starting out, do you suggest getting an LLC? Probably. You know, if you're just trying to test the waters, of course, I'm not a lawyer, this isn't official legal advice. If you're just trying to test the waters, you might be able to get away by not using an LLC. The benefits of an LLC is, first of all, it's just cleaner to separate all your business income and expenses from your personal. An LLC helps you do that. It gives you liability protection. So if someone were to, you know, I sell marshmallow sticks. If someone were to slip, trip, and fall and poke their eye out with my marshmallow sticks, if they were to sue my company, this is of course like super rare, but if that rare scenario were to happen, my liability would only be within the assets of my legal entity, which in that case would be an LLC. So they wouldn't be able to go after like my personal assets. They wouldn't be able to go after like the money in my bank account. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but that's how I understand it. They're pretty cheap and easy to set up. So I would probably recommend just doing so. I think you can set up a Wyoming LLC like in one day for like $50. So it's pretty painless. On YouTube, Alan said, can we get a supplier in the US instead of China? Yes, of course you can. Of course, China is like the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. It's pretty easy to find them on Alibaba. That's why it's so popular to source goods from China. But if you have a supplier in the US, then yeah, go for it. You don't have to use a Chinese supplier. AJ said, when should I buy liability insurance? Good question. The answer to this is whenever you feel appropriate. I'll tell you right now that I would guess like 9 out of 10 Amazon sellers do not have liability insurance. They're comfortable with the risks associated with it. If you sell products that have a high chance of people getting hurt with, then it'd probably be, you know, better for you to have liability insurance. If your business is very big, let's say you're doing $5 or $10 million a year in revenue, I would probably get liability insurance if I was you because you have a lot more to use. If you only have like one product on Amazon, you have an LLC to protect your personal assets from it. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but like my personal risk tolerance would tell me like, I don't really need liability insurance. So there you go. Alex said, how many different pieces of software do you use to help your business? So this might be a little bit of a skewed answer since I am the founder of Jungle Scout. Jungle Scout now has a suite of tools to help Amazon sellers. So of course we have the Jungle Scout apps, which help Amazon sellers find profitable opportunities to sell on Amazon. We have JumpSend, which helps you launch your product and get more reviews by sending follow-up emails. In addition to those, we have more tools for Amazon sellers. I, of course, use all of our own tools. So Fetcher is a profit analytics and accounting tool. We have Splitly, which is an A/B testing and optimization tool. And then we have Forecastly, which is an inventory management and inventory forecasting tool. So that's the suite I use to manage my Amazon business. I don't need any other tools besides that to do so. All right, Direct Product Supply said, my ACOS, which is advertising cost of sale, for those who aren't familiar, is ridiculously high. I've gathered data via AutoCampaign, but now all my words from those results are killing my sales. Any quick tips? First of all, I don't know how long you've been running it, but understand that optimizing your PPC on Amazon is a process that I would say takes months, not days, okay? So I fully accept and expect that like the first month, my ACOS is gonna be ridiculously high and I'm gonna lose money on it. But from that, I'm getting sales. From those sales, I'm getting reviews. I'm collecting data that further helps me optimize it, okay? So after that, I try to move my words that I found into manual campaigns. And this is where you can really start to fine tune it. And you can decrease bids where your ACOS is too high. And you could, keep constant, increase your bids on the items where your ACOS is low or profitable, okay? So just understand that this takes time to do so, but that's what I'd recommend to you. So it's not necessarily a quick tip. It's more so something that's optimized over time. Donald said, setting up an LLC is more complicated than you just described. I just formed one in New York City and it cost over $1,000. I believe you. I think it's different from state to state. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that some of the states are very easy and quick to set up. I know states like New York, California, a few of the other ones you can probably guess have a lot of headaches and time and costs associated with them. You could talk to your accountant and see if they think that it's okay to set up an LLC in a different state. My understanding, again, I'm not a CPA or a lawyer, is that for like online businesses where you're not doing business locally, like out of a storefront or something like that, that it's okay to use an LLC from a different state. So with that being said, you can choose one of these states that, like a state like Wyoming, they've essentially made their LLC process super simple and easy and cheap to set up just as a revenue driver for the state. So something to think about. Other people, I think, feel more comfortable just setting one up in their local state, or maybe their CPA has advised them to do so. If that's the case and you live in a state like New York or California, then yeah, it sounds like it's probably some headaches and more costs associated with it. Don't you think you should do a new case study launch for 2018, as this year many new changes have happened on Amazon? Mean to me, yes, I do think we should do a new case study. And believe it or not, we are. We have a new season of the $1 Million Case Study. I've never announced this to the public before, but starting on August 8th, which is like 3 weeks away, we're launching season 4 of the $1 Million Case Study. So if you guys want to be involved with this, go to our website, go to the old $1 Million Case Study page, and you can sign up for the new $1 Million Case Study there. If you're not familiar with the $1 Million Case Study, it's where we publicly, transparently launch a product on Amazon. We're scaling the $1 Million Case Study to $1 million in revenue. We're donating all the profits from the case study to Pencils of Promise to build schools in underprivileged countries around the world. It's a really exciting thing to be a part of. This season's gonna be the best season yet. So me, I'm glad you brought that up. I totally agree with you. We need a new case study with fresh content and better than ever before. All right, can I sell my products on Amazon without brand registry? I want to mention that I have a good UPC from GS1. Yes, absolutely. Brand registry is like a nice to have. It's not a must have. Like, get your product up, start selling it, worry about brand registry later. It's not a must have. All right. How do I get more positive reviews from Amazon? Do you recommend any tools for an Indian seller? There's no shortcuts. There's no good shortcuts to getting reviews, okay? You make sales, you send follow-up emails, and that increases the amount of reviews that you get. I'm sure there's some people on Amazon doing shady things to get reviews, but Amazon is very good at detecting these people, and I do not recommend any of you guys do that, okay? So the best way to get more reviews is to make more sales and send follow-up emails to them. Hey Greg, do you think the right time to launch our first product on Amazon is right after Prime Day? My product just arrived today. The best time to launch a product on Amazon was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So yes, I think it's a good time to launch your first product. Who cares if it was just Prime Day earlier this week? Now's a good time to launch. Let's see, sorry, a lot of sales coming through here. All right, a lot of excitement around the case study. Woohoo! I'm excited for it. When are you launching JumpSend for Germany? Germany is the next marketplace on the to-do list. It will be done this year in 2018, but I don't know like an exact date. Let's see. A lot of questions in here. I'm trying to choose some that are most relevant for the most amount of people and aren't like really kind of one-off type questions. Can my title be what makes me different first than exact keyword searches, or should I start with keywords first for better ranking? Julian, I would start your title with the keyword that's most relevant for your product, but also has the highest search volume. If you want to know search volume, I'd recommend Keyword Scout, which is inside the Jungle Scout web app. It actually gives real search volume data from Amazon. CBP, what do you do with sales tax where you don't have Nexus? Do you collect sales tax only for the states where you are physically located? You would only collect sales tax for the states that you have Nexus in. If you don't have Nexus in those states, then from what I understand, again, not a CPA, this guy is. Maybe we could bring him in and ask him. He's a CPA. Yeah, from what I understand, you don't have to have it. You don't have to collect it there. How's Keyword Scout compared to competitors like Helium 10? Good question. A few things really set Keyword Scout apart from all of our competitors, and it's the reason that we ended up building a keyword research tool. I wish there was other good ones on the market and we wouldn't have built it, would have devoted resources otherwise, but Keyword Scout is special for a few reasons, okay? One, it has real search data, search volume data from Amazon, all right? So like you can't get more accurate, like it comes from Amazon, it's the real data. Two, the results that we give you for your seed keywords are extremely good. So let me give you an example of this. If you search for something like marshmallow sticks on our competitors' tools, you get a bunch of results that say things like 36-inch marshmallow sticks, bamboo marshmallow sticks long, blah, 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 blah. All these other like kind of crappy results. And they don't give me many other keyword ideas because they all include like the term like marshmallow stick. Now, if you type in like marshmallow sticks into Keyword Scout, you're gonna see results like fire pit accessories, s'mores kit, s'mores sticks, all these other things. And what we've done is we've figured out what buyers search for and then end up purchasing marshmallow sticks. And those are the keywords that we recommend to you. So the keyword results are extremely good, and that's very, very, very valuable information to have. We also include things like the recommended bid for headline search ads, the recommended bid for PPC, the recommended giveaway. So it's very powerful, and everyone that's been using it is like, holy smokes, this is by far the best keyword research tool on the market. All right. Any specific release date for the UK Keyword Scout? We're working on it, I promise. It shouldn't be much longer. I think it's only like a couple weeks away, but I don't have an exact date, I'm sorry. Where can I get a t-shirt like the one you have? We actually have a swag store, I think, on our Facebook page. Maybe someone can help, and they already dropped it in the chat box. Facebook.com/PG/ I think Amazon Jungle. The link's in the YouTube chat box. You can check it out. We have all kinds of swag. I think we have this shirt in that swag store too. Speaking of YouTube, if you guys haven't already subscribed to our channel, I recommend you do it now. That gets me really excited. It wants me to keep coming back to do these AMAs. It also let you be notified when new videos are released, like the new videos for our $1 million case study. So I recommend you subscribe to our YouTube channel now before you forget. All right. What's a good way around the space limitations for new sellers? There's no real way around it. However, Amazon actually on July 1st changed how they calculate storage limits. So now they use something called the Inventory Performance Index instead of giving you like a max of like 500 units or whatever else. So it's actually a little bit easier now. As long as you have healthy inventory, you're moving it fairly quickly, then you can store as many as you want. Do you use Facebook ads? No. We've tried Facebook ads for a lot of our products, and there's a few that we've just barely been able to make profitable. But if you factor in all the time, all the headaches, all the costs associated with them, it's just not worth it. Just use Amazon's ad platform and call it a day. What's going to happen, do you think, when tariffs hit China? I've been selling on Amazon now for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years or something. And like every year, there's always concerns and worries about tariffs. I think when Trump went into office, maybe these like increased, but for like 7 years, like for like every AMA I've ever done or everyone I've ever talked to, there's always all these concerns about tariffs. It's not something I control, so I don't let it worry me, and I'd recommend that you do the same. And something that I think that's important to understand is pretty much everyone's getting these, like if you sell a product that you import from China, probably all your competitors are importing it from China too. So if an additional tariff gets slapped on these products, like your competitors are gonna have the same tariff as well. So maybe there's gonna be like a weird 2-3 month period or something where like they have old inventory that hasn't been hit with the tariffs and you have, and they can offer their price more competitive. But like at the end of the day, all of those tariffs are just gonna get passed along to the consumers, right? They're just gonna increase, like everyone's just gonna increase their price to include those tariffs because they can't eat those extra, like most people don't have extra margins to eat those tariffs. So that's what's gonna end up happening, all right? So it's not something that like I lose sleep about, and I recommend the same for you. Hey Greg, on JumpSend I've been, this is one from Facebook, Tom asks, on JumpSend I'm experiencing a lot of customers request coupons but not adding them to their cart. This often means that the number of sales per day I'm aiming for doesn't get hit. Can you give any tips? Yes. The quicker you approve shoppers, the more likely they are to actually use the coupon. So if you want, you can automatically approve shoppers and then they get the coupon immediately, and that's the highest chance that they use it. If you wait a few days before you approve the shopper, it's less likely that they'll actually, it's like they're excited about the coupon the first day. It's like, oh, I want this. And it's kind of like an impulse thing, right? But then like if you let them sleep on it a few nights, it's less likely that they actually want that product. So they're like, oh crap, I actually don't need another hooded baby towel. So the quicker you approve them, the more likely they are to use the coupon. The other thing I'll say is like, you're never gonna get 100% success rate of people actually redeeming your coupons. So what I do is I just give away like 10 or 20% more coupons than I actually want people to purchase that day. So if my target is to do 10 giveaways per day, I usually give away like 12 coupons. Maybe if those people have been sitting in the queue for a while, I'll give away like 14, 15 coupons or something, because you know that not everyone's gonna use them, but it's not that big of a deal, right? What's the lifespan of a product, Greg? You've seen a decline after a long time that you're selling, or basically it will last a very long time? Alex asked this in the YouTube chat box. Alex, I still have some of my very original products from, I think, 2012. And some of these have like thousands and thousands of reviews now. It's pretty sweet. So there are probably other products, like for example, if you were selling like fidget spinners, that's a very much like fad product, right? That people like, that was just like hot for one summer, then it went away. That type of thing won't last very long. But other products like more like stand the test of time a little bit more, like screwdrivers or coffee cups, or I'm running out of props. Those, there's no reason that won't have a very long lifespan on Amazon, okay? Is there a way to attract visitors from outside of Amazon? Sure, there's tons of ways to attract visitors from outside of Amazon, but I have never found one that's actually worth my time or money. Different people try to like build their own sites and drive traffic from there and run Facebook ads and do chat bots and do this and AdWords and everything else. But if you're already really good at some of those things, that's fine. You can go ahead and try them. But like, everyone always wants like drive all this outside traffic. But at the end of the day, if you really factor in how much time and money it takes you, like, I don't think it's really worth it. So yeah, you can try that. Some of these questions I've already answered today. Let's see, we have about 10 more minutes or so, so I'll answer a few more. Charlotte said, hey Greg, what software are you using to send customer review requests? How can you make sure the software you use doesn't steal your sales data and your product idea? So we have a tool called JumpSend that's what I use to send automated emails to ask people to leave reviews. How can you make sure the software doesn't steal your sales data or your product idea? The best thing to do here is to choose a reputable company, okay? So there's a whole bunch of different software tools out there, and what I would recommend that you do is to do a little bit of due diligence on the company, okay? So some companies, I know they're just like some dude runs it out of his mom's basement or whatever else, and it's not a very like legitimate company. There's other companies that are much more sophisticated and larger and have a strong track record of strong ethics, and just like a good history. So I mean, if you're curious about something like Jungle Scout and our company, we put a bunch of information about it on our website. It's now about like an 80-person company. So this is a legitimate organization. You can read reviews about us online. Trustpilot's one place that people leave reviews. We have over 1,000 reviews and we've averaged 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I would recommend just doing some due diligence on a company before you go ahead and use their software, because once you sync up the API keys, they can see your sales. I mean, they have to be able to see your sales to know when to send the email, right? So yeah, that's what I recommend for you. All right. Would you say that PPC ads is the most time-consuming thing of the whole business? It takes a little bit of time, but once you get good at it, it's actually not that time consuming. Like probably in the first couple months, I spend a decent amount of time, like a few hours per week, optimizing my ad campaigns. But for example, like something like Jungle Sticks, I don't think we've looked at those ad campaigns for probably like a year or two. Like we got them set up over the course of the first 2-3 months. And since then, I don't think anyone's ever gone in there to change them. Do you always adapt products you buy on Alibaba? I'm not quite sure what that means, John. If you're asking where I find my products, I think I've always used Alibaba for all the products. I don't think I've ever used anything differently. Are there strategies to get your Amazon product page ranked higher in Google when there's already a competitor product Amazon page ranked? Good question. I've done actually. A couple of years ago, I was pretty big into trying to get this done. I did a bunch of testing around it, like building backlinks to different products and stuff. However, I think Google's pretty smart and probably has a pretty close relationship with Amazon when it comes to ranking certain pages. So it seems like they usually just choose like whatever the top ranked products are on Amazon. Dan said, how can you get customer details without breaking Amazon's terms and conditions? There's no way. Amazon views those as their customers, not yours. They don't want you to have their information. So there's no way to do it without breaking the terms and conditions. Is $7,000 enough for your first private label product, including PPC? Christian asks us, yeah, definitely. What I recommend to people, like, my brother just asked me this a few weeks ago. I recommended to him to at least have $2,000. There's a lot of people that do it with like $500, but it's much easier if you have a few $1,000s. Do you improve the products you buy on Alibaba? Yes, I do. I try to make improvements to all the products that I buy on Alibaba, whether that's just like better material or better packaging or whatever else. So yes, I try to do that. Mohammed on YouTube says, is Jungle Scout database for India up to date as the US? Yes, it is. We don't like favor the US when we are like updating our products all the time. All of North America, Europe, and India, they're all kind of like the same priority as far as updating and stuff goes. Angel asks, is the new services coming soon to Jungle Scout? Yes, of course. We've now have a pretty large team, so we're moving pretty quickly on always adding new features, new updates, all that type of stuff. So yes, there's always new updates coming to Jungle Scout. Is the new $1 million case study going to be on Amazon US or a different marketplace? I think we're going to do Amazon US again. The last one we did, the UK, it seemed like it wasn't quite as interesting to people. It seems like most people are still interested in launching in the US, but we are going to do things a little bit differently this time, a little bit of a different strategy, but still launch in the US. Is it risky to compete against a brand owned by Amazon itself? No. I compete against Amazon products all the time, and they're actually my favorite person to compete against. And I know for some of you guys, it's like, that doesn't seem right. It's their platform, blah, 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 blah. It's their sandbox, whatever. But if you actually like look on it, there's no reason to believe that Amazon favors their products over third-party products, okay? And they usually have kind of crappy listings. Their pictures are pretty bad, and you never have to worry about them like doing shady stuff or like any of that kind of stuff, right? So Amazon's actually my favorite person to compete against. I would rather compete against Amazon as opposed to like another private label seller. I sent 500 pieces to Amazon. Amazon lost 350 pieces. If I order new inventory, it takes 2 months to get to Amazon. Do I continue with giveaway and PPC? Yeah, it kind of sucks. Amazon does reimburse you for that inventory, so you're not out the money, which is nice. But I do understand your frustration around, like, you're excited to launch this product and get it selling well, and now, yeah. I would probably continue your PPC. It sounds like you only have 150 units to last you 2 months. I would probably continue PPC, but probably not do too many giveaways. I'd probably just kind of play it by ear because it would be kind of nice for this stuff to last like 2 months until you get the new inventory in. So that's what I would probably do. Construct Jungle Bid. We need a bidding management tool. All right, I will let the product team know and see what they think. Is AMZ Mail safe? I've never heard of AMZ Mail, which they could be, but I don't think they're like a very like large or legitimate company because I have heard of most companies in the space, but you could check around online for reviews and all that kind of stuff. What do you think if I have a good product in time, it would just sell by itself, or reviews are a must-have? Yeah, so Mark, products don't really just like, they usually don't. Sometimes people get lucky and like they launch a product, they don't really do anything, it just sells well. It's like, wow, that was pretty amazing. But for most people, like you launch a product on Amazon, and if you don't do any like PPC or giveaways, it's just lost on like the last page of Amazon. So I think you do need a launch strategy. I do, like my launch strategy is through coupon giveaways and Amazon PPC. And through this, I'm always able to like get it to start selling well. All right. We're at 45 minutes. I'm going to take one last question. Dan on YouTube said, when would you recommend to order Restock? Well, if it takes you, for example, 2 months for it to get in, then I'd recommend you order like 2 months and 2 weeks ahead of time to give yourself a little bit of buffer area. All right. Guys, I know there are still a lot of questions. They're still coming in quickly. However, I got work to do. I got to go back. Every day we're making Jungle Scout better, and I have to go back there and get working on it. I got stuff to do, but I will see you next week. Like I said, the new $1 million case study is launching in about 3 weeks. Go to junglescout.com/million and make sure you register so you get notified of all of the new episodes coming out. If you haven't already subscribed to YouTube and liked our Facebook page, please do it now. That's what gets me excited, so I come back here every week. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I will see you later.